First, I think this region is very well positioned. You have a young workforce. You're going to be expecting moderate growth, highly educated. And so I think you're going to see this region begin to take off. I think you're going to see more globalization, both within ASEAN countries, but ASEAN as a trading region and partner with the rest of the world. So those are some of the trends I would see for the future. Skills for future leaders, there's always a lot of discussion. How much do skills really change over time? I see a few fundamental changes in what skills leaders are going to need for the future. The first, there's a lot more focus today on innovation. And what's a leader's role in innovation? It's not necessarily to be the innovator. It is really to foster a culture of innovation, and I think that's going to be key. I think innovation is one of the biggest challenges organizations anywhere in the world face today. Leaders are going to need to work across boundaries. Been a lot of discussion during the conference about globalization, and I think leaders, whether they're actually in an assignment outside of their home country or whether they stay in their home country, they're still going to have to work with teams and individuals across boundaries, no matter what level of leadership. And so I think global awareness is going to be a second big set of skills that leaders don't have. The third, and this really has not been defined by anybody, I think leaders are going to know, I'm going to start that one. There's a third, and I don't think that really has been defined by anybody yet, and that is what I would call technology savvy. So how are leaders going to use the various forms of technology, especially social media? How's it going to impact their role as leaders, but also what skills are they going to need to use that technology effectively? Okay. I think when you look at some of the strategies that are in place for developing future leaders, one that sticks out to me is this concept of high potential. We make a clear distinction between high potential and readiness. Readiness is whether a leader is ready for a specific job. Potential is, let me start that one over again. Okay. So I think one key strategy is going to be setting up and managing high potential pools. We differentiate potential from performance and from readiness. Performance is how well you're doing in a current job. Readiness is whether a person is ready to move into a specific role. But potential is far different. It's identifying people early in their careers who are not ready for a senior role, but that you want to differentially invest in so they can grow faster and more rapidly. I think that's a key strategy because we're seeing that there is a leadership shortage. People are feeling the pain of a leadership shortage. They're going to have to develop from within. And I think a well-executed high potential system will do that. I go second strategy. I'll go one more, then you can decide which one to use. I think a second strategy we're seeing in development of leaders is to move away from the concept of leadership as an event, a class, a course, or even a job experience. And what I'm seeing a lot of organizations do, and they do this in Asia as well, is the concept of a learning journey. And so basically, you're taking various components of learning effectiveness, whether it be classroom, coaching, action learning, use of social media in the learning process, and putting them together over a 1 to 3 year process to meet an organization's business challenge. And so that concept of not looking at training is one day you do this, another day you do this, and nothing's related. It's a mix of types of development activities that are arranged over a period of time.
We were talking about yesterday was one of
Yeah, so I can add a comment on that. I mean, I think one of the challenges ASEAN organizations are going to face is to look at generational differences. Now, you have a young population. That's a real plus. China has a very old population. So you have a lot of senior leaders who are going to be retiring, no room for the younger people to go. I think one of the benefits this part of the region is going to have is there's going to be lots of opportunities to move up the ladder if those new generation people really want to lead. By the way, I think there's been lots of discussions that the younger generation really are not interested in leadership. I'm not finding that to be the case at all. There's the traditional tools, classroom training, web-based learning, coaching from a manager or executive coach. I also think there are a whole bunch of new tools that organizations are beginning to use more. One's action learning. Action learning enables a group of people going through training to take the skills they learn in training and immediately work as a team to apply it to a real business problem. And so they're integrating the skills with solving a business challenge. And you get the benefit of the team working together using those skills, but also in some cases in organizations we've worked with, for example, in Thailand, we see 20 or 30 different projects getting off the ground that are having a tremendous financial impact on the organization. We're seeing a lot more use in terms of tools of what I'll call assessment or assessment center methodology. This is a method where leaders will actually experience a day in the life or 2 days in the life of a leader. Perfect for roles they've never been in before. Take frontline leadership. We have an assessment center for frontline leaders. Most people who are put in that role have never had an opportunity to lead. So how is past performance going to predict future performance? It's not. And so you do the same thing you do if you were hiring or putting someone on a sports team. You want to give them a tryout. And that's what the simulation-based assessment actually does. We see that organizations are experiencing far higher success rates by using assessment for putting people into critical frontline leadership roles. Also used at mid-level, also used at executive level.